I work as a server at one of the most exclusive restaurants in New York City. Most nights, I wait on celebrities and CEOs, people who spend more on a single meal than I earn in a week. I always keep a smile on my face, stay professional and polished, never ask for autographs, never grandstand. Before we begin today's story, I want to ask you all, have you ever uncovered a secret your parents kept their entire lives, one that completely upended everything you thought you knew about them? Feel free to share your story in the comments. If you love stories about lost love, second chances, and true feelings that time never buried, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss the next moving story. But few people know that 3 months before I met the man who changed my whole family's fate, I had just fought a silent war inside this very restaurant. I've worked at Cipriani for 6 years, moving up from a part-timer to the most respected senior server in the place. I know every vintage, flavor profile, and serving temperature of every fine wine on the list by heart. I remember every regular's dietary restrictions, preferences, even family anniversaries. Even the most difficult old money families only let me handle their private dinners. More than half of the restaurant's loyal VIPs book tables specifically for my service. The exclusive New York distribution rights for the world's top fine wine. Estates that cement the restaurant's industry status? I secured those through my connections, chasing deals for 3 months straight. Without exaggeration, I am the unseen foundation of this restaurant, the key that holds all its high-end business together. But to the newly arrived general manager, I was just an old-fashioned waiter. His name was Ethan, the owner's nephew of the restaurant group. 28 years old, he landed the top job thanks to a few viral marketing articles about trendy restaurants full of empty buzzwords, disruption, agile growth, optimizing veteran staff, eliminating legacy baggage. He looked down on us longtime servers, thought we were too slow, too old. Didn't understand what young people wanted, just replaceable cogs. His first move was to scheme for money. He swapped $10,000 fine. Wines for cheap replicas, worth a few hundred, falsified inventory records, to pocket the difference. He skimmed tips from us servers, calling it a team pooling fund, while lining his own pockets. To hit sales targets, he illegally booked high-profile confidential clients, dumping all compliance risks on frontline staff. Whenever a veteran employee objected, he fabricated attendance records, maliciously, cut pay, and fired them unlawfully. In 3 months, 4 longtime coworkers had been driven out. His biggest target was me. I held the VIP connections he craved, the core, access to the wine distribution rights, and I never went along with his reckless schemes, always following the rules. He tried to poach my clients several times, only to be shut down directly, which made me his mortal enemy. He knew my mother had stage 4 breast cancer, and that I relied on back-to-back double shifts and tips to cover her astronomical medical bills. So he deliberately gave me the worst shifts, took away my VIP reservations, and even mocked my mother's illness in public, saying I brought bad luck to work and hurt the restaurant's image. I endured it, not out of fear, but because I couldn't lose this job. My mother's chemotherapy, the out-of-pocket costs for targeted drugs, everything depended on it. But I didn't sit idle. Every dirty deal he made, every record he altered, every tip he stole, every backroom deal with suppliers, I documented every single one. Saved in 2 encrypted backups, one in the cloud, one with my attorney. And the exclusive wine distribution contract I'd negotiated years ago had a hidden trump card I'd added, which no one had taken seriously. The sole designated restaurant contact for this agency shall be Lucia Rossi. In the event the contact is replaced or unjustly stripped of relevant authority, this agency agreement shall terminate automatically, and the brand shall not enter into any new cooperation with the restaurant for 3 years. I never wanted to play that card until that Friday night when I met Adrian Keller. It was a late October Friday. New York nights were packed with people out. For fun, the restaurant fully booked, with waitlists stretching a week ahead. I'd worked 8 straight double shifts, my feet throbbing as if on knives, yet my professional smile never faltered. At the pre-shift meeting, Ethan slammed the schedule down in front of me, in front of 30 staff members. Lucia, your reservation conversion rate dropped 3% this month. You're too distracted by family stuff to do your job. He crossed his arms, a sneer on his face, loud enough for everyone to hear. This restaurant needs winners, not deadweight with family baggage who can't. Keep up. I'm officially terminating you. Change and get out. Now. The room went silent. Coworkers stared at their feet, too scared to speak. Not satisfied, he stepped closer, his voice low enough only for me to hear. You think you're tough? Protecting all those old-timers without this job? How are you going to pay for your mom's meds? I stared at his arrogant face, feeling no anger, only cold, quiet calm. I'd been waiting for this fatal mistake for a long time. What he didn't know was that an hour before the meeting, he'd sent an official email to the wine supplier revoking all my access and appointing his loyalist as the new contact, proudly copying the group headquarters. He thought he'd seized total power. He had no idea he'd just triggered his own destruction. Even less did he know that all the wine set aside for VIP tables that night, including the premium vintage reserved for table 12, which he thought no one would taste, were the cheap replicas he'd swapped in. I didn't argue, didn't lose my temper, didn't say one extra harsh word. I just pulled out my phone and, in front of everyone, hit send on pre-written messages. First email, to my attorney instructing him to submit all evidence, document forgery, tax fraud, passing counterfeit goods, wage theft, to the New York State Liquor Authority, the IRS, and the group's legal and board teams. Second confirmation, to the Asia Pacific director of the wine supplier, who replied instantly with official termination of the agency agreement, copying the group owner. And global headquarters, third alert, to all my loyal VIP clients, one sentence only. Tonight's wine inventory poses quality risks. Ordering not recommended. If dining is needed, I will. First, group headquarters called the restaurant's landline nonstop. The manager picked up, went pale, and looked at Ethan as if he were a dead man. Then the wine supplier's termination notice hit the restaurant's official inbox. Everyone knew the restaurant's standing in New York's elite dining scene depended entirely on that exclusive wine agency. Losing it was like losing half its lifeblood. Next, Liquor Authority and IRS investigators arrived at the door, citing a formal tip, demanding immediate seizure of the wine cellar and financial ledgers. VIP cancellation notifications flooded in. The restaurant's 100% occupancy for the night plummeted to under 30%. Their attorneys and labor arbitration claims demanding justice on the spot. Ethan stood frozen, his arrogance gone in an instant. His face turned as pale as paper, his hands shaking uncontrollably. His mouth to speak, but no words came out. The group owner flew in from his Long Island mansion within half an hour. The first, immediately permanent blacklist while reserving all legal rights to pursue him for the massive losses inflicted on the group. Then he hurried over to me, his tone humble and pleading, apologizing repeatedly. He offered to triple my salary, give me equity in the restaurant, begging. I told him calmly that I would help study the situation for the night and speak with the suppliers to delay the termination. As for whether I would stay, I would give him an answer later. It wasn't kindness. I knew something fated was waiting for me that evening. Just then, Josh, the floor manager, pulled me aside, looking cautious. In this entire restaurant, only you can take it. Who is it? Adrian Keller. Everyone knew that name. German immigrant who'd built a software empire from nothing and graced every Forbes list. Alone? I asked, surprised. Yes, asked for a quiet spot. No interruptions, just proper service. Understood. I picked up a water carafe and walked to table 12. Adrian Keller sat with his back to the wall, in his 40s, dark blonde hair streaked with gray, wearing a perfectly tailored charcoal suit without a tie. Understated, but impossible to miss. He stared down at his phone, a heavy, unshakable loneliness in his expression. The kind of solitude I'd seen so many times in wealthy people. Good evening, sir. My name is Lucia. I'll be serving you tonight. Would you like something to drink first? He looked up, obvious exhaustion in his eyes. Red wine. Surprise me. Our Beaujolais Nouveau is excellent, perfect for a single glass. Fine. I poured him water and brought bread, which he barely noticed. He just gazed out the window at the Manhattan skyline. I served the wine and took his order, filet mignon medium rare with asparagus. Your food will be out shortly. I turned to leave. That was when I saw it. His left hand rested on the edge of the table, his suit sleeve sliding down slightly to reveal a tattoo on his wrist. Small, delicate, a red rose with thorns twisted into an infinity symbol. My breath caught. I knew that tattoo better than anything. For as long as I could remember, my mother had the exact same design. On her left wrist. When she cooked, when she brushed my hair as a child, when she held me, when she reached across the hospital bed to hold my hand, that tattoo was always there. A red rose, thorns forming an infinity sign. After 20-some years, the red had faded, no longer bright, but still clear. When I was 7, I asked her, "Mom, what does that tattoo mean?" "It's from a very long time ago, my darling. Before you were born." "But what does it mean?" "It means love is beautiful, but it can hurt, and that love lasts forever." "Someone you loved? Besides me?" She'd smiled sadly. "Yes, a long time ago." "Was it my dad? Where did he go?" "He left." That was all she would say. "Go play, sweetheart." Over the next 20 years, I asked countless times. She always changed the subject. I stopped asking, but never stopped wondering. And now, in this exclusive restaurant, a billionaire I never met had. The identical tattoo, same design, same spot, same wrist. "I'm sorry, sir. I shouldn't say this. It's unprofessional. But I can't help it." My voice trembled. This is going to sound strange, but my mother has the exact same tattoo. Same rose, same thorns, same wrist. Adrian Keller went completely still. The wine glass he'd lifted halfway hung suspended in the air. "What did you say?" "My mother has that same tattoo. I asked her about it my whole life. She never would tell me what it meant, only that it was from before I was born." "What?" His voice cracked. He cleared his throat and stared at me intensely. "What's your mother's name?" Julia Rossi." The wine glass slipped from his hand and shattered on the table, deep red. Wine spread across the white tablecloth like blood. "Julia," he breathed. I grabbed a napkin, scrambling to clean up. "I'm so sorry, sir. I'll get you a new glass and open another bottle right away." But he didn't look at the mess. He only stared at me as if he'd seen a ghost, a mix of disbelieving joy and agony in his eyes. "How old are you?" "I'm 24, sir." "Are you all right?" 24? He did quick math in his head, breathing faster. "Where is she? Where is Julia?" She's in the hospital, sir. She's very sick." "Did you know my mother?" He stood abruptly, pulled several $100 bills from his wallet, and slapped them on the table. He turned and walked toward the door. "Wait, sir, your food." "Keep the money, I have to go." He left just like that, rushing out of the restaurant. I stood beside the ruined table, holding a napkin, $500. In cash in front of me, my mind completely blank, unable to process what had just happened. At 2 a.m., I got home from work and texted my mother, "Mom, do you know someone named Adrian Keller?" She didn't reply. The medication kept her asleep most of the time. I sat on my bed and searched his name. Articles flooded the screen. Forbes profiles, tech media coverage, photos from conferences and charity galas. I noticed he was always alone. No partner, no wife. The press called him the most eligible bachelor in tech. In an interview 5 years prior, he'd said, "Many years ago, I loved once. It didn't work out. I haven't felt that way since." I zoomed in on his wrist in one photo. The rose, the thorns, the infinity symbol, exactly like my mother's tattoo. What had happened between him and my mother? The next morning at 10, as soon as visiting hours began, I rushed to Oncology Wardroom 407. My mother was awake, propped up in bed. Chemotherapy had left her bald. Her body wasted away and four in her arm. But when she saw me, she smiled. "My darling, you didn't have to come so early." "I wanted to be here early on Saturday, Mom." I kissed her forehead and sat on the chair beside her. "How are you feeling today?" "A little tired, but okay." The new anti-nausea medicine works well. We talked about small things, her treatment, the nurses, the terrible hospital food. Then I asked casually, Mom, do you know a man named Adrian Keller? She froze. All the color drained from her face. Why are you asking about that name? He came to dinner at the restaurant last night. He has the same tattoo as you. Her voice shook. Adrian was at your restaurant? You do know him. Mom, he's famous now. He's a billionaire. Lucia, where is he? I don't know. He asked your name. When he heard Julia Rossi, he left right away. Mom, who is he? Tears burst from her eyes. She cried, he found me after all these years. He finally found me. Mom, what are you talking about? I knew him before he was Adrian Keller. He was just Adrian. 25 years ago, before you were born, we loved each other. What happened then? I had to go back to Italy. My grandmother was dying. I promised him I'd be back in 6 months. I tried everything to return, but when I finally got back to New York, he was gone. I looked everywhere, every place we'd been, everyone we knew. I couldn't find him. I thought he'd forgotten me, that he'd moved on. And the tattoo? She touched the faded rose on her wrist. We got them together the week before we separated. He said even if we parted, the tattoo would prove we were real. Mom squeezed my hand, begging, Baby, please. Reach him. You said he's famous now. There must be a way. I don't have much time left. I have to see him. I have to tell him I never forgot. I called the restaurant right away and asked Josh if Adrian Keller had left any contact info. No, but Lucia, someone's here asking for you. Who? He wants to talk to you. I'm at the hospital. Can he come here? Muffled voices on the line, then Josh said, he says he'll be here in 30 minutes. Thomas Baker arrived exactly on time, mid-50s, gray suit, kind face. We sat in the hospital cafeteria. Miss Rossi and Mr. Keller's attorney, he sent me to ask about. Your mother, is he okay? He's been upset for 25 years. Last night was the first time he's had hope in all that time. He pulled out a tablet. Can you tell me everything about your mother? Full name, condition, everything. I told him everything. Julia Rossi, 48, stage 4 breast cancer, metastasized to lymph nodes and liver, room 407 at Mount Sinai. Doctor said she had less than a year left. Thomas scribbled furiously. You said they loved each other 25 years ago. She went to Italy. And when she came back, he was gone. She thought he let go. He never let go. Thomas looked up, his voice heavy. He spent 5 years searching New York, all of Italy, nothing. He thought she'd stayed in Italy, chosen her family over him. Both of them thought the other gave up first. Exactly. Thomas closed the tablet. Mr. Keller wants to see her, with your permission. She's dying to see him too. When? Now, today. As soon as possible, Mr. Baker. She doesn't have time to wait. Understood. I'll bring him this afternoon. Just cruel luck. Bad timing. I stepped out to the stairwell, not to cry, just to be alone. 20 minutes later, Adrian found me. Your mother told you everything? Yes, I understand what happened, why things turned out this way. No one's fault. Just the bad luck, wrong timing. I turned to him. But I'm 24. Suddenly, my whole identity feels wrong. The Italian father I thought was gone is actually you, someone who's been in New York my whole life and I never knew. It's too much to take in. I know, more silence. Then I asked the question I needed answered most. Why did you move? December 1999, right before she came back. What happened? Adrian leaned forward, elbows on his knees. I got a job at a startup. They needed programmers in Midtown, paid way more than construction, real money I could save. I took it right away because his voice cracked. I wanted to save enough to go to Italy, bring Julia back, or stay there. With her, whatever she wanted. So you moved closer to work. Yes, I worked 16, 18 hours a day, saving like crazy. I got a new number. The old one was the apartment landline. I bought a cell phone I could finally afford. I left my new number with the landlord, told him to give it to anyone asking for me. He was 89, probably forgot. Your mom came. Back January 10th. She remembers exactly. We missed each other by 1 month, Lucia, just 1 month. If I'd waited longer, if the landlord had given her my number, I would have known about you. I would have been there. He looked at me, regret thick in his voice, buried for 25 years. I tried so hard to give her a better life. And I missed everything. You couldn't have known? I should have left clear information. Stayed in better touch, I should have. He stopped. We fell quiet again. I know you'll want a DNA test. I'm okay with it, I said. I already believe it, he said, his eyes soft. But I need proof, legally, medically for me too, until I'm 100% sure I can't let myself feel it. The results are in. Can you come to the hospital? I want us all to know together. I'll be there in 30 minutes. When I arrived, he stood at the door holding an envelope. His hand was steady, but his jaw was tight with tension. Ready? Adrian opened the envelope, read the first page, and looked up at me. Probability of parenthood, 99.9%. His voice was calm, but tears filled his eyes. Lucia, you're my daughter. I didn't know how badly I needed to cry until that moment. Mom opened her arms and held me, both of us sobbing. I looked at Adrian, standing there, holding back tears, shaking. Come here, I said. He hesitated like he couldn't believe it, then stepped in and joined our hug. The three of us held each other and cried. What now? I asked once we calmed down. Now I make up for lost time, Adrian said, gazing at Mom in the bed, his voice gentle. I missed 25 years. I won't miss whatever time we have left. The next week unfolded like a dream. Mom's oncologist, Dr. Daniela Hill, called me into her office. Miss Rossi, I received a call from someone representing Mr. Adrian Keller. He wants to transfer your mother to a private facility, unlimited budget. It is. He's an old friend of my mother's, Dr. Hill smiled. A $42 billion friend? Lucia, I have to ask, is your mother fully comfortable with this? It's an extraordinary gesture. She is. He wants to help, and we really need it. Then I'll coordinate the transfer. There's an immunotherapy clinical trial at Memorial Sloan Kettering with great promise, but it's extremely expensive and not covered by insurance. If Mr. Keller is willing, he is. Then we'll start the application immediately. 2 days later, Mom was transferred to Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. He also paid off all her previous medical bills in one lump sum, $140,000. A debt that had crushed us for 3 months, gone in an instant. He covered my full year's rent too and told me to quit the restaurant and go back to school. I dropped out of NYU after Mom got sick, unable to afford tuition and medical fees. Go back, finish your degree, he said. It's what your mom always wanted. I can't accept all this. It's too much. It's not enough. He looked at me, guilt in his eyes. It's 24 years too late. Over the next few weeks, I watched them together. Adrian came every day, sometimes twice. He sat by the bed, held her hand, and talked for hours, laughing, crying, catching up on 25 years of lost time. He told her how he built his software empire, the endless nights, the bone-deep loneliness, why he never married. No one ever made him feel the way she did. She told him about raising me alone, working 2 jobs a day, cleaning. She never shared with anyone. We lived in the same city for 25 years and never once ran into each other, Mom said. Until Lucia. Adrian looked at me, gentle warmth in his gaze. Our daughter saved us. The immunotherapy worked. It wasn't a perfect cure, but 3 months later, Dr. Hill brought news. They called it clinical remission. Mom cried, I cried, Adrian cried. How long do I have? Mom asked. I can't promise 100%, but with continued treatment, you could have years, not months, years. Mom looked at Adrian, her eyes shining. We have years. However much time you give me, I'll spend it with you, he said. 6 months after I met Adrian, he proposed. Not in a fancy restaurant, no grand ceremony, just a quiet Tuesday afternoon in Mom's hospital room. I should have asked you this 25 years ago, he said, dropping to one knee, holding her hand. I should have put a ring on your finger, not let you get on that plane to Italy alone. I was young, stupid, scared. No, I'm not. Julia Rossi, will you marry me? Mom cried and said, yes. They married a month later. A small ceremony, just me, Thomas Baker, Dr. Hill, and a few nurses who cared for Mom. She wore a simple white dress, he wore a suit. In the hospital chapel, they promised forever. This time, they would never let go. 2 years later, my mom is still alive. The cancer is still there, but stable, well controlled. She goes to Sloan Kettering once a month for treatment and lives fully the rest of the time. She and Adrian bought a house by the sea in Connecticut where she'd always wanted to live. When she's feeling well, they travel Italy, Germany, all the places. They never got to see together 25 years ago. I finished my degree at NYU and graduated last spring. Last week, I visited them in Connecticut. We sat on the porch watching the sunset over the water, drinking wine, talking about nothing in particular. Then I saw it, Mom and Adrian holding hands, left hands intertwined, wrists together. Their tattoos were clear. 2 roses, 2 sets of thorns, 2 infinity symbols. 27 years later, the color had faded, but they were still there. Do you ever regret getting the tattoo? I asked. I know it used to bring judgment, Adrian spoke first. Never in my darkest years, it was the only thing that made me. Sure she was real, that what we had wasn't a dream. Me too, Mom said softly. I thought about covering it, removing it, but I couldn't. It was the only piece of him I had left. What does it mean to you now? That love never really goes away, even when you think it's gone. Even after 25 years, it's still there, waiting for you. Love is beautiful, but it can hurt, and love lasts forever, Mom. Whispered in Italian, the exact same words she told me as a little girl. Forever, Adrian repeated. They didn't get a perfect fairy tale ending. Mom is still sick and cancer may take her one day. But not today. Not now. Today they hold each other's hands, matching tattoos glowing in the sunset. Today they have their forever, however long that forever may be. At the end of this story, I want to ask you again. Have you ever uncovered a secret your parents kept their whole lives, one that changed how you saw them completely? Or have you ever seen a love that proved time and distance can never kill what's real? Share your story in the comments. If this tale of lost love, second chances, and one small moment that changed lives touched you, please like and subscribe. For more heartfelt stories daily, hit the notification bell so you never miss our next one. Thank you for watching. Oh, and one last thing. The restaurant group's owner begged me to come back dozens of times, offering even higher pay and equity, hoping I could restore the wine agency and clients. I turned him down every time. I never yelled or made a scene. I let the rules speak for me and let arrogance and greed pay the price. I kept my dignity, protected my life, and that was enough. It was my silent victory.